Greetings, Earthlings! Welcome back again to another episode of the Thinking Scrubs. I'm your host, Ron. Hi! Together with my
What?
co Raymond,
Hi everyone.
and of course, Ramon.
Hello.
Oh, sorry, not the Rebel, the Resistance.
Mhm.
And the perennially absent but now present Imperial Ian.
Woohoo! Hello, guys.
Sorry we can't make fun of Ian tonight, folks, because he's actually
Sorry,
here.
I'm here.
But we have something better for you. We have a new segment called, what do you call it, guys? Let's ship it!
Ship it.
Ship it! Am I pronouncing it correctly? Because I think this is beyond my generation. Ship it! What is ship it, Ramon?
Ship it. Oh, napa-define sa akin. Oh no.
You're the best at defining stuff. So.
You are the definer of words, Ramon. Don't
Oh.
let us down.
So, shipping it is this new segment by the Sarlacc Scrubs that takes the thinking scrubs. I'm sorry, oh no. We're gonna get the copyright take. Okay, so ship it is this new section by the thinking scrubs wherein we take specific pilots, underused or very niche pilots, and think of different ways on how to use them based on our own experiences or thoughts. Tama ba? I think that's a. I think
Very
it's
good. It's
So
very,
the
very
important part
fine.
there is that it's our own opinion. So if you bring this to a attorney and lose, he can't blame us.
Yeah, true.
We're just a theory crafting
Disclaimer,
here,
huh?
guys.
Disclaimer to the highest.
It's not a disclaimer, it's a scrub claimer. So this is a
Scrub claimer.
This is a Thinking Scrubs podcast anyway. So don't expect to win if you use anything that you find out here.
Well, you might. Who knows? You
Yeah.
never know.
It might
Yeah.
spark an idea, or
Yeah.
that
Could
be
bring about the next
meta-defining.
revolution. Yeah, we could bring about the next meta revolution. So what's
Alright.
exciting also about this
to-
podcast is that we have audience participation, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ian, how are we
we
gonna
going
get
to-
this?
This-
Yeah.
We'll be making a Facebook page wherein you can vote, and we also have the Thinking Scrubs X-Wing podcast channel, and you can comment your the pilot that you will choose there, and of course don't forget to subscribe also on our channel.
Great.
So
So yeah, watch out for that Facebook page. It'll be coming up soon.
so I suppose we will be making a poll of some sorts. So the most popular pilot, and that's the one we're going to take on.
Yes, we are.
Alright. But let's burn the bridge when we get there. So, but first things first, since we don't have a nominated, designated pilot yet from our lovable listeners, today we're going to pick our own pilot to ship. So, who's the pilot that we're going to ship today? Raymond?
Drum roll.
The winner is boom. Ray from the Resistance, Millenium Falcon.
Wow. So new.
I'm sure that she's a very popular character among the fandom. However, we don't see her on the tables, right, Ramon? I know you
Yes.
play Resistance a lot, but you don't play Ray.
Yeah, there are a couple of directions I think Ray could fit in, but I would say this. I think she's currently being overshadowed by a lot of other options. It's not that Ray is, I would say this, a bad pilot. It's just that even with the small selection that Resistance has, there are still some more outstanding lists that are being played more often currently.
It's an interesting take.
It's just that there are other options that people are more willing to play, try out. But of course, there's still downsides to taking Ray on the table, and I can love to break them down at least.
I played Ray before in the first version. And she was good in X-Wing 1.0 because of her
1.0.
ability.
Mm-hmm.
I think her ability then was she can reroll blank or something, by using her force. But now her ability is quite weaker than her first version.
Yep.
So
Um,
her ability now is while you defend or perform an enemy ship in your front firing arc, you may spend one force to change one of your blank results to an evade or a hit result.
yep. Yeah, it's nice that you pointed it out, Ron. Back in first edition, Ray was about using Finn to do rerolls to add extra damage. Now she's
Mm,
limited by her force charges. Um, but just to make
yeah,
sure,
because in
as well.
1.0 there's no such thing as a force charge. So
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
she can do it every time. She can do it while attacking and then afterwards during defense.
You
So
can
now
Yes.
trigger
she's
it
limited.
almost
Well,
every time.
oh,
Yes.
well, you can still do it twice in a round, but that will totally deplete her force powers, and she will be left to one use per round in the succeeding rounds.
Yeah. Just to also point out, I think, as you can see with Ray, compared to the Rebel Falcon, it has less health. It has a drastically worse dial, and compared to the 1.0 version of the Falcon, just to point out, um, the Falcon's dial is extremely different. It's lost its one turns, it gained three turns, so now it prefers sweeping motions. The dial of the scavenged Falcon itself compared to uh, the Scum and
The
Rebel
Millennium.
versions is, yeah, is basically a little bit worse too, with a red 4 forward and less blues. So uh, the only thing it's got up over the Scum Falcon is that it has three
Force
red dice.
tokens.
No, it's the three red dice for the Scum Falcon. I'm talking about the Falcon chassis as a whole. There's a reason
Oh,
why they're not, how we say this, very popular options. Unless you're taking, for example, maybe Han, because he's an
oh.
I6, you're paying for that I6. But once again, characters, pilots like Han in the Scavenged Falcon, the Resistance, don't have, how to say this, the damage mitigation tools, for example, that the Rebel Han Falcon has, which is the rerolls when near obstacles.
The native ability of Han.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's those couple of things that don't make the Resistance Falcon as popular as Rebel Falcons and even Scum Falcons. Even if Scum Falcons right now aren't as popular as well, but I think even Scum Han Solo has more utility in on the table right now compared to even Resistance Han. But uh, we actually have players who've had success on the table. Ron took it to a tournament. Hesed, Ramos took a two-ship Scavenged Falcon list to a tournament, but all of them featured Han Solo. And Ray has never seen tournament play, not yet at least,
In 2.0.
in
Yes.
2.0 locally. From what I'm
Yeah.
just looking at the usual top cuts, we know resistance lists gravitate more towards the small base ships. Uh, so digging into Ray, I want to point out one thing that most that would probably pop out. If you notice, her ability, much like 1.0, still sticks to the forward firing arc.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This adds a limitation because in 1.0, firing arc only mattered if you were using Finn, and then you'd use Ray's ability in that specific case. But if someone ended up outside your arc, you could still shoot them. In 2.0, you'd
Yeah.
always be your arc, the front
Yeah,
arc.
because in
Unless you shoot
1.0
them through the back, right?
there's still the 360 arc. As Ramon was mentioning, one limitation in the 2.0 chassis of the Resistance Falcon is that, at least for Rey, she's limited to use her ability only in the front firing arc. And what does this mean?
Mm-hmm.
It means that she has to joust. She has to face her. Well,
Not hash, not hash, but
not necessary.
that, that makes her more efficient when she jousts, at least.
That's her
Unfortunately,
forte.
when she jousts and and by joust, meaning her enemies also
Hello.
facing her, that's when she melts. No, so that's the weakness of the resistance Falcon. It's too
Wait,
fragile.
Yeah.
did
If you notice, so the things that make it a little worse is the 4 red straight, because now you can't escape opponents by doing a 4 forward and then boosting out. That's one. It's lost the 3 blue straight, which helps a lot trying to get away or trying to kite basically. Uh,
Mhm.
the the Resistance Falcon takes a little bit of work to fly closer to the Rebel Falcon. It's possible, but you invest a lot of points in the Resistance Falcon. And if and since the Rebel Falcon has, for example, Hans rerolls for both offense and defense, which can help him give consistent evades or give consistent shots, the Resistance Falcon doesn't have the tools to do that. You could use Rose, but then you'd have to bank on missing shots or getting hit, so you can spend the result to get a free target lock, which isn't necessarily an optimal strategy. So with Ray
Mhm.
Falcon, there are 2 ways to fly her, which is similar to a lot of how other Falcon builds usually are focused on. The first one is flying her with, how do you say this, flying her with her arcs to the sides, and just basically using her force as soft mods, not necessarily aiming to use her ability.
so
Mhm.
basically like Kylo Ren, wherein people don't really care about his ability nowadays.
Yeah.
Just they just need him for his force and his nice ship and his initiative bid.
Yes, more or less. So just using those force as a force mod. In that specific case, some options are just sticking Leia on her to give her 3 force, and some, how do you say this, at least some way to mitigate the bad dial.
Yeah, I
And
was
bad happens.
I was about to say that what's missing with the Resistance Falcon is Kanan Jarus. Well, that was before
Yes.
Leia Resistance Leia arrived. So now there's something that can mitigate the red maneuver.
So shall
Allows
we
you
get in?
to.
Yeah. So I
Leia
guess we're getting
Organa.
into it now, right?
Yep, I
So
think.
I yeah, so I'm opening up the ASB right now. You guys can see it, right?
Yep.
So let's
Yes.
start building for Ray, knowing that what we've discussed in terms of her weaknesses and strengths. So we have here Ray,
Okay.
73 points.
It's a lot of points.
Do we have any like must-have upgrades for Ray? Ramon, do you have
Uh,
any?
Personally, I think running Ray naked is a good place to start. Yeah, it's without any upgrades. It's a good place to start with if you want to try Ray out. Because she's 73 points with more or less an access to a boost, some blues, and you can probably fit in 2 pocket aces with her. So it's a good place to start. I'm not saying it's a good competitive place to start, but it's a
Mhm.
good place to start to get a feel for what Ray can do. Uh, what I think is essential though is packing Ray with ships that can joust with her. Uh, Recently, actually, I've been trying to figure out if Ray is better as a third ship in the list, for example. And um, me, Tim, and Val have actually been testing this some weekends on our free time, throwing it
Ooh.
against triple and ones. And
Ooh, triple
that
N1. Wait, against triple N1s. Oh,
against
okay.
triple and ones, yeah.
Alright.
We think that Ray works with a good jousting list. A good jouster. So something like Jespava and Bastion, who can get double mods.
Jess Pava, let's see. Okay, and then Bastion
Yeah.
at
This
48.
Yep. This list came out because originally I was trying Ray with Lulo and Nien, because
Mhm.
Lulo and Nien are great. Uh, they're great. They're great components to a list that doesn't care about a bid. Unfortunately, I was flying them earlier with Poe, who desperately needs a bid. So I was looking for a piece that didn't require a bid, and I was looking at Ray. But when we tried them out with Ray, Lulo, and Yen, Ray wasn't performing as well because even with just the soft mods, it always felt like you were still paying for her ability. So we decided that we'd pack her with people who could get double mods and aren't aren't afraid to face the opponent head on. The idea is to present a strong joust. Next is I initially thought just sticking Leia on her for 3 fours would be good, but Tim actually thought
How
about
many points is Leia?
19 points.
She's 19
Wow,
points.
that's a lot.
So if you put Ray in that list you mentioned, and
losing
then
her bit.
with Jess, well, you still have 9 points so far. I think that
You can
10
you can
points.
put BB Astromech on Jess Pava just to enable her ability.
Oh, sorry, BB Astromech here, and
There we
there's
go.
that,
And then
one on.
usually we stop here. This is the list. You don't. This is the list, more or less. You could put Sense on her, on Ray. That's also great for the post joust exits. So you can get a feel on what kind of how you can modify your sloop. Uh, when you modify it with Leia, and then what's your next action after that. But Tim actually had the great idea of taking out Leia,
Mhm.
replacing it, which is actually funny because this is actually also 19 points. You replace her with Corsella.
Porcella is
Corsella.
the
Ah, yeah, remove all the stress one, and
Yes,
then I'm guessing with the race Millennium Falcon
Yes, and then you add engine upgrade.
engine upgrade.
Yes. And
All-
since this list
Oh,
care about a bit, you can add auto blasters on either Bastion or Jessica Pava. It doesn't matter who takes the auto blasters.
Although, my only thing here is that if you're taking Ray anyway, I mean with the title anyway, so you even really need to take the engine upgrade since you're gonna Corsella it after like 3 turns or something.
Because sometimes you want to rotate while being stressed. Like if you sloop.
Being rotated.
So
But
the
you
idea is, for
can-
example, if you do the 3 sloop, Ray is in position, but your opponent still has a chance of moving, and then you see that using Sense, he's gonna take a 3 turn and probably boost. You can rotate your arc after the sloop.
Yeah, but
And
you
then
can
you could also
hey, you can still
yeah.
perform the rotate action.
even with the
and-
title, you still can.
yeah, but the engine upgrade is also there because it's better not to
It's just insurance.
no, not really insurance. It's more that when I do a boost maneuver, I can still do another long maneuver like a 3 back and then still boost the next turn, which is always good. It means I
Yep.
can exit properly.
So
Because
it's
if I end up doing a large maneuver and then I'm stressed, the next turn I'm going to be forced to do a 2 straight or a 2 bank, which is one of the weaknesses of the Resistance Falcon compared to the Rebel Falcon, which has a 3 forward. A three-
Sorry, so just to understand, since we are trying to think of Ray here as a not using her ability, right? Just using her as a Initiative 5 ship with Force tokens, right?
Yeah,
So
the engine upgrade is basically for chasing down enemies, running away if you're basically getting hit hard. Because running away from opponents doesn't usually take just one turn. It usually takes around 1, 2, 3 turns of disengaging, especially if you're a large base ship. So engine upgrade is, I think it's also been a good upgrade for any kind of Falcon from Rebel. It's not the how we say this. It's not the first upgrade that you stick on a Rebel Falcon, especially if you want to go cheap. But if you want the Rebel Falcon to be able to take consecutive 3, 4 forward or 3 bank maneuver for 2 turns at least, then engine upgrade is definitely a upgrade.
okay, so this is our first draft.
I think I like
Yeah,
the Leia
doesn't move a lot, right?
option more.
We actually thought that the Leia option was restrictive because you had to choose where to use her. Either you'd use her as a soft mod, you'd use her as how would you say this? You'd use her to modify a maneuver. So that was it. With this setup, it's the same points, but you have the flexibility. You do the blue maneuver, you release the stress. You don't have red boosts, and then you can still manipulate your turret or boost while stressed. So it's a good package, at least from what we're standing. But yeah, I think Leia is definitely
yeah, it's still worth
Hmm.
considering that since the Leia card is also a new card and there's a bit of hype around it, it
Yeah,
might be.
but in terms of being this toolbox, this set is more flexible from what we've
Hmm.
tried.
Although I do see the point wherein when I'm looking at this, it's already 18 points anyway, and wouldn't
Yeah,
Leia make more sense though? Let me think. Wait, just let me. I just want to check something with Leia.
go ahead.
So actually, Leia reduces any maneuver
Yep,
to.
the difficulty of the maneuver. So the sloops turn white, the whites turn into blues, which is great.
Hmm.
And then she can share it with her other compatriots. She can turn just Papa's Talon rolls. But how would you say this? If I'm going to be relying on Leia, Ray might end up force starved, especially after the first joust, because we're already gunning and using Ray's ability on the first joust as much as possible. So
Hmm.
the Corcella build doesn't rely on the force. So Ray can definitely just burn through her force on the first joust, either offensively or defensively, and then it doesn't matter for her next turn.
We still need sense though. That's an
Um,
interesting
Sense
thought.
is there because it's free technically in terms of usage. As long as you're in range one of an opponent, you can check their dial. So
Although, yeah,
you don't
still
have to
seem.
use the ability.
Yeah,
The
true.
the spend one force token to check 0 to 3, and it's great for making sure your opponent can't exit properly after the initial joust because you'll be able to see where they're going.
Although, my only qualm about that, I guess, in terms of sense on big base ships like this, or in the Falcon in general, is that okay? So you know where your opponent is going, but
Can't do
if
anything about it.
you're within range one already, can you even move to a position where take advantage of that? I guess with Leia you can, like, okay, so yeah, I
Uh,
can sloop and then do the boost or something.
yeah,
But
with
if
the Corcella setup, what we've seen was when we did the sloop after the first engagement, we can check where the primary target was going, and then rotate the turret to that area. Like if someone was gonna be doing a three bank or a three turn, we'd know if they were going there or if they were going straight, and then we just keep the arc in front. So that was one of the, how to say this, strengths of having sense on board post joust that we saw.
Ian, your thoughts on.
It just looks so thematic and overall a little bit useful, or at least probably a viable list uh, for utilizing Ray as a pilot.
So when I look at this list, I'm thinking Ray will probably be jumping in front, and all ships will most likely be hitting Ray first.
Um, when we flew it in formation, Jess and Bastion were in front.
Oh,
So
and
they
Ray would
sent
come
out,
in the back.
yes, and Ray was in the back. They'd fly in a block formation, and then you try to get into range one. Your best engagement range is at range one.
Mm.
One of the things that we noticed was it stacked up with one of the more popular lists. I mean, it models one of the more popular. Not stacks up. We haven't tried it against
Mhm.
that. The resistance for ship, which is the triple X small X, which includes Finn. It's Pava, Bastion, um, Snap Wexley, and Finn. It has the same health as that list, same total health. The only difference is the number of red guns. With that ship, it's 4 ships, and then this one is a 3 ship list. But it's as tanky as that, and it still puts out some consistency. So I'm not saying it's better than the 4X. We haven't had much games with this. We've only played it. We put it on the table like once. Probably gonna be 2 times in a few days or something. But at least from what we were seeing, is that it's a solid tanky list.
Mm.
It's not
Yeah,
getting
I
shot.
could see that. T70s aren't that hard to kill nowadays. and with Jess with her mods, Bastion I think might be the first to go down in this list if ever.
Most likely, they'd be the first targets. It'd be easier to kill.
Then Jess probably second, then Ray.
Bit about it
Mm,
is at least Bastion is just 40. So Ray
But
and
as much as
Jets
possible,
can.
you still want to spread the damage and um, use Ray as probably a meat shield.
No, I'd rather keep Ray in the back because she's 96. I want. If I were flying this, I'd want people to like work hard to kill Ray. So if they leave Bastion and Pava out in the open, they're more maneuverable than a lot of things out, and they can probably put on a lot of hurt. So they'd have to work to kill Ray,
So, let's
and then Finn is
turn
just gonna
turn
be
the
on there.
tables, and if we were to face this list, what do you think are their weaknesses that we can exploit?
um, hmm. Well, this is a solid list, and like I said, if I were to face this list, my shooting order would be, if I mean, given that all three are within my arc, would be Bastion first, then Pava, then Ray. The Bastion is good as a gun, but in defense, he's just a normal T70 in that regards, and he doesn't have heroic, so he can't mod his defense. So if I have like at least, I mean, since he's a two, I will take the two shots from Jess and Ray. If I can just focus on bringing down Bastion in the first turn, then you severely cripple this list already in the first turn or in the first engagement.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to fly a swarm against this list just to see if Ray is able to hold up against that.
Well, if you're going to fly a swarm, probably just block the X-wings, no? And then
Yeah,
focus fire on the Ray.
Yes.
if I'm gonna be flying a swarm with against a swarm with this list, I'd fly away from the swarm. The ships are good enough to break out on their own, to abandon the whole jousting strategy. They're all maneuverable enough to do that.
True. Okay. So
Okay,
I guess we'll
so
have to
yeah,
play test that. Yeah.
If I'm going to fly my Republic squad against that, so I wouldn't joust that in 1,000 years.
Oh yeah,
which
that's
one?
This one?
Either of them, because both are they look like jousters, right? No. So just different ships, but both are essentially jousters.
Okay, so I guess we're running over.
We're out
We're
of
running
time,
late.
actually.
Yeah, Ron, you wanna take a?
Okay. So this is our maiden flight of the ship it
Ship it,
segment.
ship
So a lot of ship thrown about. Eat ship.
it.
Anyway, well, there's always the first time, and I'm sure we're going to improve next time. But okay,
we
we've
we
come up
want
with
to
two.
see, yeah, we want to see what pilots or who they want to fly or who they want to see on the table.
Yep. So I suppose, but at the end of the day, right? The proof of the pudding is in the eating. So so we will still have to test this on the battleground to see which works well, which works better than the other. So I'm looking forward to that. So what are we going to do? We're going to make a bat rep episode and see how how well it goes, or how big the fire is when it explodes in front of us.
Okay.
So I guess that's it. Any final words, Raymond?
Just don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.
Yes, and to vote who the next pilot will be for the Ship It episode.
And Ramon?
yep. Uh, Shout out to Tim and Val for helping make that list possibility. I'm hoping it gets some table time from other Resistance players as well.
Yeah, me personally, I'm I can still recall the days when I play Ray Falcon, and Poe. So those two are quite fun to fly together. So hopefully in the coming days I'll be able to play that once again.
Hopefully.
All right, that's it for this episode. Thanks, guys. We're the Thinking Scrubs.
Thinking Scrubs.
Bye.
Bye.